This episode we're going to be talking about the world's favourite sociopath. I'm of course speaking about James Bond. Hey guys, welcome to the Sir Atkinson Film Club with me, Sir Atkinson, talking all things film. Today we're going to be talking about James Bond. The most recent James Bond is of course Daniel Craig, who's done a brilliant job in my opinion. He's took over at a time where Jason Bourne, the movie, had entered into the zeitgeist, if you like, and he was rough, ready, and actually had grabbed a lot of attention. And I actually think that the Jason Bourne series pushed Bond the way it did, and Daniel Craig came in and outdone most people's expectations of what Bond can be. Rough, ready, quite violent at times, but still charismatic and everyone's favourite super spy. I think by now most people will have seen No Time to Die, or at least hope you've made the trip or watched it on your home TVs. So I think without giving too much away, if you haven't, it was a pretty definitive end to Daniel Craig's tenure. So I can't see any comebacks, and it's quite big news that we're soon going to be expecting an announcement around the new Bond. Now, there's a few names in the hat, and you can pick up or search any day of the week and you'll find another name added to it. But I thought, as with anything, let's see what the bookmakers have said and who they're expecting, because they don't give away money easily, so normally they're not too far away. There's a few names floating out there, but we're going to be looking at the top 6 names the bookies have, and then I'll do a little breakdown of each and see what my opinions on the matter are. But also it's quite important what your opinions are, so please leave a comment if you have any ideas or who you think would be good for Bond. But before I get into who I think will be the next Bond and break down who the bookies have, could you just do me a favour? Would you mind eliminating that like button, please? Just take it out. And if you still have some time left, could you just make your way over and demolish the like button? That's it, right? Blow it up. 6 frontrunners at the bookies are Henry Cavill, Rene-Jean Page, Idris Elber, Tom Hardy, James Norton, Richard Madden. Have I left anyone else out? I'm currently not in the top 6, sadly, but in time I'm hoping that I'm noticed. Taking a look at the top 6, Henry Cavill first. Now, most people will know Henry Cavill. He's been now a Superman for the last 10 years. That could actually work against him, being such a big part of cinema and being, the go-to name, being I'm quite sure he would like to be James Bond, because imagine being Superman and being James Bond in your career. It's a pretty good CV. He's done other stuff. He's done Mission Impossible. He's on The Witcher on Netflix, which I've been told has been greenlit for a 7-season run or a 6-season run. I actually got offered a job to work on that for a few years, which in movie and film, getting a job guaranteed for a couple of years is gold dust. So I wasn't available to do it actually. I was booked for a couple of different movies, but it was a bit of a compliment. But my opinions of him, he looks the part in that he looks quite suave and debonair. He's got the physical attributes similar to Daniel Craig, where the rough, ready, big shoulders, quite intimidating look. Maybe slightly more debonair look than Craig, which would be interesting. Part of the problem for me, for him getting that role, could be the fact that he is a bit similar to Daniel Craig in the way he holds himself. I could see them possibly moving away from that look. If you look at Bonds through the years, the next Bond doesn't normally follow the same attributes, and that could stand in the way. Nonetheless, I can still see him in that suit. You could imagine him turning into pose, looking the part, being... I'm not even sure. Is that a gun? I don't know what that is. Looking his James Bond best. Certainly got the looks. The bookies have got him almost a favourite, so let's see. I wouldn't be disappointed with a Cavill Bond, but let me know what you think. The second favourite, Rene-Jean Page, he's Mr. Bridgerton, really. I don't know too much about him as an actor, just because he's pretty much known for Bridgerton. Now, he's obviously a good-looking fella. He's caused a bit of a storm, and in fact, the amount of women who's turned on to Bridgerton pretty much for this guy, it says a lot. And, Bond, an unknown Bond who's good-looking already will turn a few eyeballs. Plus, you've got the racial aspects, which is worth speaking about, I think. Bond have been rumoured, the next Bond could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be a black guy, an Asian guy, it could be anything. And I think that if they go in that direction, this wouldn't be the worst choice at all. I do question the depth in acting ability of Rene-Jean Page purely on the lack of work I've seen. So, what I've seen of Bridget, and I'll be honest, I didn't watch the full series. I was working with someone who was also on the show, and I just caught an episode. I mean, it was fine for what it was, but it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek period piece. So let's see. Obviously, if he's the bookie's second favourite, he's probably in a few people's mouths right now around Hollywood playing the part. So if they see him then, I'm quite sure they've maybe got a little bit more experience than me in casting, which is pretty much zero apart from myself on this channel. So who knows? Let's see if we see him there. I can't see him as Bond in my head. When I think of a Bond, I don't see him yet. Another one in the running is Idris Elba. Now, Idris Elba is like a UK treasure at this point. Everyone loves him. I mean, for me, back when I first started watching Idris, it was on The Wire, where he's a big physical presence, definitely charismatic, can act because, the amount of different accents you've seen him in. Directs now, so he knows his way more than just around a script. He certainly knows his way around a film set, which can only add to a character's role or playing a character, in my opinion. I would have loved to seen Idris Elba as James Bond, but 42-year-old Idris Elba, I don't see him becoming Bond purely on his age. Nothing to do with anything else. But if we're looking at Bond for a minimum, say, the next 3 movies, and that will probably be 6 to 8 years, are we going to see 60-year-old Bond or 50? I think Idris must be, 50-year-old at least now, probably 52. If he's not, I'm sure he's close enough. I don't see it. Great to see his name mentioned there, and it would be such a different presence on screen and offer different avenues to take the character. As Daniel Craig, certainly in the last Bond, the character took different places to where we've ever seen him before, and I thought that was brilliant. So hopefully that could be something we see in the future with a new Bond. Fans' favourite, Tom Hardy. Now, he's about 4th in the running, according to the bookies, but I would love to see this. One thing that goes against him is a bit the Cavill issue, where he is a bit similar to Daniel Craig in the physical attributes. He's rough, ready. He certainly knows how to fight, which is exactly the thoughts you have when you think of Daniel Craig as Bond, physical, rough, ready. And Tom Hardy fits that. Now, Tom Hardy, what I would say is Tom Hardy's one of them actors where the English are obsessed with class, right? Tom Hardy's probably a middle-class guy. I've had a few conversations with him and worked a couple of movies with him, and he's so grounded. And he's one of them guys, one of the few guys in cinema, I'd say, where the working classes love him as an actor for him being him. I think it's a lot down to how honest he is as a person, but also the roles he picks, which are quite accessible for the working class. Now, them lines are thin, and also the lines that we draw ourselves, so working class, middle class, whatever, it doesn't make too much a difference. But for instance, people have adopted him as their favourite, as opposed to, say, Benedict Cumberbatch, who is equally as good an actor, maybe not as good looking, but is less accessible for a working class fan. So that's an interesting move, and I actually think that it would not pull more eyeballs, Bond gets enough eyeballs, but would certainly change the conversation around it. Barring that, I think, would Tom Hardy take the role? He's the right age. It's it's an iconic role. Who wouldn't want that? But it's committing your career for the next 5, 8, possibly 10 years to one role. We see how he loves picking characters, whether it's from Peaky Blinders to Bronson to, the list is pretty much endless. But does he want to dig that deep into the same character for so long? Now, his career's already A-list. He's, a go-to actor in Hollywood, and if his name's in a film, it's already dragging eyeballs. So for him, that might be a personal tick in the box, becoming Bond. But he's already massive and pretty much can get any role he goes for, I'm quite sure. That's probably one of the shadows over him getting that role. Another one in the running was James Norton, who was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't expect him to be in the top 6. Seen him in Little Women, I haven't seen him in too much else. Seems a solid actor, but the fact that his name's in there and the bookies don't like to lose money, maybe they know something we don't. Not too much to say about the guy other than he's a little bit of an unknown. Certainly I would suggest the underdog out there, some of the names being mentioned. If he is put in there, he's got big shoes to fill. Having a slightly unknown person come in after Daniel Craig, who's done arguably a great job, could be a good idea, because all of a sudden people are more interested in what's he going to do in Bond, rather than you have a Tom Hardy or an Idris Elba. Everyone's going to be like, what are they doing? Whereas people are going to have to Google James Norton. Do I see him as a Bond? Maybe, maybe not. I see him in the clothes, he's going to look the part. I'm not sure I've seen anything out of his acting career so far where I think that's James Bond. And the last of the front runners is Richard Madden, Game of Thrones Richard Madden. The first thought I had was, is he too small to play James Bond? But then, Daniel Craig's 5'8", 5'9", met him in Pinewood Studios before, and he's not an imposing guy, but when you see him on screen, as Hollywood often does, they certainly make people look imposing. So that left my mind quite quickly. Everyone loves Game of Thrones, or certainly had a large following, and he was a pivotal character in that. Holds the screen well, pretty charismatic, quite dour in the way he acts, and not in a negative way. I just mean he's brooding, which we don't know where they want to go with this character. Maybe that's one of the aspects they're going to move towards with the James Bond character. Has he got range? I haven't seen him in too much else. I've seen him on chat shows, and he's certainly charismatic. Let's see him in a suit, and I could see Richard Madden as Bond. I don't think he would be my preferred choice, but it doesn't mean anything. Can I see him as James Bond? Yeah, I could see him with a shave and a haircut and a tailored suit. Yeah, dropping out of a plane, maybe skiing down. I hope we see a little bit of the flamboyance of some of the older Bonds. Daniel Craig's Bond's been amazing, and it's certainly filled the cinema screens, absolute blockbusters. I think if we move away from the character, we might go slightly towards like Bond's ultra masculinity, which I'd call the Daniel Craig character, to like a Pierce Brosnan, slightly, I don't want to say camp, but camping character. Flying out of space in his gadget cars, or some of the older school Bond things that people do love. It'd be interesting to see if they skewer off in this direction. And it'd be quite interesting. Who do I see out of that lot doing that? Do I see Richard Madden being that character? Possibly. Certainly, when I've seen him on screen, got a bit of tongue-in-cheek humour, and I've seen a few things on YouTube actually where he's done some comedy bits. So let's see. Now, out of the 6 there, who would be my choice? Tom Hardy, I'd love to see as Bond, just because he's got, acting credentials that go on forever. Met him a few times, worked with him, great guy. Plus, he told me his granddad's from Yarm, which is pretty much where I'm from, same region. So I've got a soft spot for anyone who's got Teesside blood, just about. Idris, I definitely would love to see an Idris. I just can't see it because of his age. So probably I'm seeing Cavill out of them 6. Certainly the most Bond-like in my eyes. He seems fit for the role. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. could have been like a little audition for him, suited and booted as a spy. You know who I actually saw for this role, and I saw it in the movie Tenet. Now the reason is Robert Pattinson, and let me go back a little bit. Before Daniel Craig was named James Bond, there's a scene in Layer Cake where Daniel Craig picks up a gun and he's walking around it. And for me, I remember watching that and thinking, wow, he would be a great Bond. And, I'm not saying I predicted the future, because I'm quite sure a lot of people saw that. And sure enough, he came in and he did the job and he looked that part. And I saw Robert Pattinson for the first time in Tenet, suited, a little bit charismatic, holding guns, fighting the bad guy, still wearing this, looking sharp in his suit. I can see it, He's not in the bookies top 6, so that might mean he's ruled out. Plus, he's currently Batman, and I'm quite sure he has a multi-movie deal, which the overlap would probably be complicated. Would they work against each other, being Batman and James Bond at the same time? Possibly. We're being told the decision is imminent, or certainly what the papers are leading on, but that could be just press releases to keep us talking about these things. We all love James Bond. We all love talking about James Bond. If you're an English male like me, you've probably dreamt of being James Bond once or twice. Sure, most men across the world have. Speaking of men, quite a few female characters over the last couple of years. Names keep coming up. Will Bond be female? I don't think this Bond will be a female, but it doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. I think they're missing a trick, actually. You know, I know the Bond character was adapted from a book, but it's went so much further than that with the amount of movies we've made. Why don't we widen the Bond universe? We've seen with Marvel what that can do. You know, a 008 and a 007. What we saw with Daniel Craig, seeing inside the agency, meeting different 00s. Hopefully we get a decision soon so we can start getting excited about who it's going to be, when it's going to be. They're probably going to film in Pinewood, as always. Pinewood Studios is, it's littered with Bond memorabilia, and it's one of the places I love working, partly because of it. You've got the James Bond stage, Q. You walk around, there's pictures, black and white, to modern day Bonds. And they're actually opening a visitors, I want to say museum centre? A Bond version of the Harry Potter world, if you like. Massive footfall, bring more people there. It's going to be a nightmare for your crew because it means loads more traffic around the already busy roads at Pinewood Studios. But I'm quite sure that's not going to affect their decision making on opening the centre, which, let's be honest, when it's open, I definitely want to make a visit just to see it myself. So it's a bit of a stay tuned on this one. I'm going to follow the betting, see what happens, see if any late front runners come in, if anyone drops out, or if anyone's suddenly off radar. That can be a sign that they're going to announce something. You know, Cavill's give up the Superman role, right? That, to me, could mean that he's lined up and he's situated nicely. I'll have to start regularly checking out their IMDb's to see what they've signed up for in the future, because if they haven't signed up for much, that could say that they've give themselves 6-7 months coming up to make the next Bond. Anyway, these are just my thoughts on who the next James Bond should be. Who do you think should be? Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you think it should be a man, woman, child. I'm really interested, and if you want to have more conversations like this with me, and I want to make more videos, so please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, let me know what I can do better, because it's my 3rd video. I'm trying to improve all the time. I just want to make good content that you want to watch. So if you've got any video ideas or episode ideas, please let me know. I just want to engage with you guys, make some content that you might be interested in watching, and hopefully a conversation can start, because that's ultimately my goal. I want to make stuff that people want to watch and chat about that, which is basically what the movie industry is. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode. Please tune in to my next video where we're going to review Sing 2, and I'm going to bring a little expert in for this, my daughter, who's 5, and we're going to watch it together this week. She's going to give her views. I'm probably going to listen. We both love Sing 1, so we're really looking forward to this one, and with the list of talent, we're attached to them movies, and they're always family fun. I've already listened to the soundtrack, because Sadia was aware that it's out. At the very least, it's going to be very palatable on the ear. So anyway, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Much love.